If you're a big swim team and you like to order a lot of gear, maybe you ought to check out Swim Outlet Team Division for these reasons. Swim teams receive a 10% discount on bulk orders. Swim teams or organizations get an 8% commission on referred sales. You'll also like their customization services, which is affordable and available at all times during the year for all team gear. With over 50,000 items in stock, you can get most anything you want. Swim Outlet Team Division. You need to try it out. You'll be glad you did.
This is the Morning Swim Show for Thursday, February 20th, 2014. I'm your host, Jeff Cummings. The Big Ten Men's Swimming and Diving Championships begins next week in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and the man to watch in the diving events will be Indiana senior Darian Schmidt. He's had a great dual meet season so far and will be looking to give the Hoosiers a win or two, not just at the conference meet, but at the NCAA championships as well. And joining me now in the fitness monitor from Bloomington is Darian Schmidt. Darian, it's good to see you. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing all right. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for your final Big Ten championships?
I'm excited. 10 out of 10.
That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear. So you won the 3-meter diving at conference as a freshman and then the 1-meter as a sophomore. So what's it going to take for you to get both of those titles this year?
Well, I won the 3-meter as a sophomore, and as a junior, I won the 1-meter.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Yes.
That's all right. What was the question again?
I just want to know what's it going to take for you to win both of those this year?
Just some consistency. I was good. Both those years I was good on the one event, and I struggled on the other event. And I'm just hoping to bring both events with me this time.
Are you one of those divers that is going to be trying out any new dives at the conference meet? Any new dives we're going to be seeing here?
Yeah, I have 2 new dives on the 3-meter that I'll be using that are different from the years in the past, and the 1-meter list will stay the exact same.
So tell me about these new dives you're going to be working on.
I'm adding, on one of the dives, I'm adding 0.4 degree of difficulty, and the other one I'm adding 0.8 degree of difficulty, so it's just a lot more degree of difficulty going into this last year.
And then if you get those dives right, those are huge points.
Yeah, big scores, hopefully.
Well, you're obviously going to need them. You're going to have a lot of competition at the NCAA level. You know, you were third in the 3-meter in NCAA's last year behind Christian Ibsen and Nick McCrory. You got to dive against Christian at Stanford earlier this season. You actually beat him. I'm sure that was just a big boost for you.
Yeah, that was really exciting. Just going into his home pool and rubbing elbows with an Olympic medalist and just having fun over there in Stanford, that was really exciting.
So as you said, I mean, he's an Olympic medalist, and you know, what was your level of nervousness knowing that, I know it was just a dual meet, but knowing that, you know, you were going to be up against the guy who was also the reigning Olympic or NCAA champion?
Well, I wasn't that nervous because I get to see him a lot throughout the year and with USA Diving, but I was just trying to focus on my dives and just see how it all played out during that day.
And after diving against him and beating him, what did you learn from that experience that's going to help you going into March?
Really, I just learned to just take each dive one at a time instead of thinking way too much into the future. A lot of times if I'll hit a couple of dives, I'm thinking, wow, like I have a chance, like I can do this. But I just focused on each dive individually and not thinking of the whole 6-dive list.
I've talked to a few divers, and I get varying responses on this question, but are you the type of diver who constantly wants to know where you are relative to everybody else during the competition, or do you stay in your own bubble and just kind of worry about your own self?
It depends on the meet. Sometimes I look at the scoreboard, and if I see it, then it's whatever, and if I don't, I'm not like, oh, I need to go see the scoreboard, so it doesn't really bother me either way.
I noticed also that you're primarily a springboard diver. Have you been working on any platform diving? I mean, obviously that's, you know, if you do good in platform diving in NCAAs, that's some big points that you can give Indiana.
Well, last year at the Big Ten Championship on tower, I hurt my right shoulder, And so we have a new coach coming in, and he decided like my focus would be springboard, and I'm better at springboard. So we're just going to focus on that and hopefully stay injury-free for the rest of the year.
Yeah, you definitely need to do that, and I don't blame you for skipping platform. That's a long way to fall.
That's pretty high.
And you're from Bloomington, Indiana, which is where you go to school now. Why did you decide to stay in your hometown for college?
Well, I've always, even before diving, both my parents went to IU, and I'm a family man, and I didn't want to leave my family. So even before I started diving, I always said that I would go to IU. And then they just had a great program, and the head coach, Jeff Huber, he recruited me, and that's where I'm at now.
Yeah, it was a big plus. I would imagine that Indiana is definitely one of the best diving programs out there. Made your recruiting choice a lot easier.
It did.
Well, Jeff is no longer there. He's moved on, retiring from the sport. Now you've got a new coach, Drew Johansson, who has a lot of great dive coaching experience. He used to coach Nick McCrory as well. What's it been like working with him this season?
It's been awesome. Everything I could ever ask for.
Is there anything that the two of you are working on that you've never expected yourself to be able to do? Has he kind of changed anything about yourself as a diver?
Not like with different dives yet. Like we've talked about learning some new ones in the future, but just the level of training that he's brought to the team and just the type of workouts that he writes for us is definitely different.
I know a lot of divers, when they were younger, they started out as gymnasts, and then as they got older and taller, they moved on to diving. Was that the case for you, or have you always been a diver?
I never did gymnastics, and I started diving in high school. I was always a football, basketball, and baseball player, and my dad and we would mess around at the outdoor pool when I was young on the diving board, and I just thought it'd be cool to go out and try, and then I did.
Well, that's very interesting. I've heard a lot of people coming from either swimming or, like I said, gymnastics. I've never heard of someone who was a football player try out diving, so that's extremely different. Do you ever kind of go back and forth and say, maybe what if I had, stuck with football, I'd be a college football player?
Well, I think at the time baseball was my sport, even though I did all three, and I often wondered how I would be in baseball, but I'm very glad with my choice to stay with diving.
Yeah, I'm sure Drew and swim coach Ray Lewis are extremely happy you're there. Well, after NCAA's is going to be the end of your collegiate career. Are we going to be seeing you through the 2016 Olympic trials?
That's the goal. I plan to keep training and qualify for as many international meets as I can, so I can hopefully get that international experience to hopefully perform at the Olympic trials. I'll have the experience behind me to perform at the Olympic Games.
Something obviously that is very prominent in international diving is synchro diving. Have you ever considered that and maybe trying to find a diving partner to work with and compete with?
Yeah, as of right now, I have two different partners. One is Michael Hickson from Texas, and the other one is Sam Dorman, and he goes to the University of Miami. And Sam and we qualified for the Canada Cup Grand Prix, which is in April, and we'll be representing the U.S. there.
Oh, that's exciting. What's it, obviously, it's not really the same to be in different cities and be synchro divers. So, how do you guys work on that when you get together? Obviously, if you go to a meet, you're not going to have much time to make sure all your dives are synchronized.
Yeah, well, you got to, usually if you put two good divers next to each other, hopefully they're both going to hit their dives regardless of how synchronized they are. So that helps. And then you just kind of find somebody with a similar body type and the same amount of power, how high they can jump, and then you put counting next to that, and just usually you can sync up pretty easily.
Well, that's pretty good. I know it's never easy, and that seems to be kind of the way it is in the United States, especially is all the big synchro divers, they're either on either sides of the country, and you just kind of get together at the big meet and work on that. Really quick, I've always heard that divers spend so much time working out, not just doing actual dives, but dry land. I mean, how much time are you spending on a typical day in training?
Typical day, about 5 to 6 hours, including dry land and the weight room. And then we get like our Sundays off, and we have about a half day on Saturday. But 5 to 6 hours is usually during the week.
Wow, that is a lot. I'd say that you guys are probably working out more than swimmers. So kudos to you guys. And I know it's a tough sport, and many people probably say they can do it, and I tell you from experience, it's not an easy sport. Well, Darian, before we let you go, we want to submit you to our final 5. These are 5 questions that we ask all of our guests on the show. Usually some of our questions are swimming related, but I'll change them up for diving for you. My first question is, what's your favorite dive to do?
My favorite dive would have to be gainer twister on 3 meter. I do 2.5 somersaults and then 1.5 twists.
Okay. What's a career or job that you know you would most like to try?
I want to be a collegiate diving coach when I'm done diving.
Okay. What's a career or job you know you would not like to try?
Being a swim coach. I don't know a whole lot about swimming.
Well, that's good. You stick with diving. Is there a dive out there that you think is extremely impossible to do, but maybe by the 2016 Olympics could be achieved?
I would say for me, there are some dives that I don't think I would be able to do, but I'm sure the Chinese might be able to pull off maybe a back 4.5 or something on 10 meter that not the rest of the world has seen.
Yeah, that's a lot of flipping. I'd get dizzy just thinking about it. Last question for you, Michael. Where do you like to go for vacation?
I went to Mexico over the summer, and I had a really good time, so I'd like to go back.
Okay, well, hopefully you get to do that again, and maybe this summer besides the Canada Cup, you'll have another great international meet to go to and get to see some more places to go.
That's the goal.
All right, Darian, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck at Big Tens, and we will see you at NCAA Championships.
Thank you.
All right, so that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Morning Swim Show. Swimming World will be bringing you up-to-date recaps of the Big Ten Men's Swimming and Diving Championships, which begins next Wednesday on swimmingworld.com. So be sure to come back for complete results. I'm Jeff Cummings. Thanks for watching.